In mid-2026, escalating global geopolitical tensions suddenly hit a highly unexpected critical inflection point that demanded immediate international intervention. The venue for this sudden diplomatic mediation was Islamabad, with negotiations locked behind closed doors on June 14th and 15th. Out of those intensive sessions emerged a dense framework officially designated as the Islamabad Memorandum. The 7 pillars officially confirmed by both delegations define the actual mechanics of the deal, separating verified data from the unconfirmed claims reported in the press. These confirmed points establish a strictly phased, conditional de-escalation framework. To map exactly how this agreement enforces compliance, we will use this bilateral compliance timeline. The agreement is strictly time-gated across 3 critical horizons: immediate activation on day 0, a day 30 threshold, and a day 60 bottleneck. Along the vertical axis, the actions are separated into 2 distinct domains. The deal hinges on trading military and kinetic stand-downs against economic and diplomatic relief. The enforcing power of this text lies entirely in sequence. Specific actions in the kinetic row must be verified before subsequent financial reliefs are unlocked in the economic row. By ignoring the political rhetoric and strictly plotting the chronological mechanics, we can see exactly how compliance is forced onto both sides. Starting at day 0, the agreement mandates immediate action upon activation. Iran's primary upfront concession is a total and permanent ceasefire. The text explicitly dictates that this cessation of hostilities applies across all active fronts, notably highlighting Iranian operations and proxy coordination in Lebanon. In return, the United States offers an immediate, reciprocal diplomatic concession regarding Iranian sovereignty. This provision binds the U.S. to a complete halt of interference in Tehran's internal political affairs. These Day 0 provisions require zero capital expenditure. They are the political and kinetic prerequisites required before the timeline advances. Moving exactly 1 month forward to day 30, the agreement triggers massive economic and physical shifts. The United States is required to lift the sanctions targeting Iranian oil exports. Simultaneously, all federal restrictions on Iran's petrochemical export sector are removed, reopening key global markets. The United States also executes its major kinetic concession at this 30-day mark, initiating a complete stand-down of its naval blockade. This maneuver formally reopens the Strait of Hormuz, restoring navigation to a vital global trade route. This chart visualizes the sweeping macroeconomic concession organized by the U.S. and its allies, a $300 billion plan explicitly earmarked for Iran's economic reconstruction. By day 30, the U.S. trades maritime containment for the economic revitalization of Tehran. The timeline hits the day 60 mark, functioning as the critical bottleneck. Iran holds $24 billion in frozen assets, but the text dictates a strict division. Only half, $12 billion, is scheduled for release at the 60-day window. The U.S. delegation structured this $12 billion release to be dependent on Iran meeting highly specific compliance terms. That financial leverage is directly tied to the primary diplomatic requirement of day 60, the mandatory commencement of formal nuclear negotiations. This is the mechanical pressure of the deal in action. Capital injection is held hostage until verified diplomatic dialogue regarding the nuclear program actually resumes. Day 60 is the ultimate stress test. The reconstruction package and initial unfreezing mean nothing if nuclear compliance fails at this specific node. When we examine the specific parameters set for those day 60 nuclear talks, the most revealing detail is what the text deliberately leaves out. This diagram outlines the resolved scope. Notice that while the nuclear program is firmly inside the boundary, Iran's ballistic missile program sits entirely outside of it. Similarly, the network of regional proxy forces is excluded entirely from the mandated talks. Both the missile architecture and proxy networks are deeply entrenched variables that have driven regional conflict for decades. Mediators chose a strategy of ignoring these volatile issues in order to force a rapid consensus purely on the economic and nuclear fronts. These exclusions prove that the Islamabad Memorandum is a highly bounded framework designed to isolate unresolvable threats outside the immediate treaty text. Pulling back to view the completed bilateral compliance timeline reveals the full structure of the agreement. The architecture relies on an immense, detailed macroeconomic influx provided by the United States to balance out the immediate, kinetic de-escalation from Iran. While the American economic concessions are heavily detailed up front, Iran's structural concessions, beyond the initial ceasefire, are largely deferred to that 60-day window. The overarching strategic trade-off is clear. The U.S. is purchasing an immediate halt to hostilities with future-dated capital. By enforcing these checkpoints, the memorandum successfully shifts the theater of conflict from physical naval blockades to a rigid, mechanical sequence of economic compliance. The immediate next step in the geopolitical calendar arrives on June 19, 2026. The finalized accord is scheduled for an official signing ceremony in Switzerland. However, reading this upcoming signature as the conclusion of the conflict would be a miscalculation. The ceremony initiates the rigid, phased timeline explored today. From the moment the ink dries, international attention will lock onto the impending 60-day conditional window. The viability of the Islamabad Memorandum depends on whether both nations navigate the specific requirements of the Day 60 bottleneck.